Welcome back to another episode of the Level Up climbing series. I'm Marcus, a not-so-great climber from Vancouver, Canada, who's hoping to get a little bit better through analysis and an increased motivation for climbing. So today, we have a very special episode. I happen to be in Langford, BC on the island, and we are checking out Boulder House. This is a gym that I had heard of and seen shirts of people wearing in my gym. And since I was here, I thought I'd check out the gym here. So this is their Langford location. You can see there's 8 different grades, from yellow being the easiest, pink being the hardest. And it was basically a fresh gym for me. I didn't know what the grades were like. I hadn't tried any of these climbs. So I was super excited to just hop on everything and try and see how I do. So I started off with their green tags. That's their third hardest grade. The first 2 being yellow and orange, which I had warmed up but not filmed. And these felt pretty straightforward. I will say that this black climb felt like pretty difficult compared to their other 3s in terms of how they looked. I was looking around wondering, is this really a dyno? And it was. Because I think looking around the other green tapes, they looked more like 2 hexes in my gym. So I thought that black climb was really worth doing. We moved on to the next grade, their blue tapes, which is their level 4s. And these felt also still pretty straightforward. I wouldn't have been surprised if these were pretty easy 3 hexes compared to at the Hive. All these holds were really good, and it was all pretty straightforward. This yellow climb as well, I think all the holds were pretty solid. Nothing too crazy. I would have given this a 3 hex in my gym. But yeah, if you guys looked at this towards the beginning, this gym is relatively small. And luckily I went when there weren't too many people, so it was really nice being able to hop on literally everything. This white climb was a purple tape, so we're already moving up to these level 5s. And this climb was pretty straightforward. Again, I would probably give this a 3 hex. Nothing was too difficult, and I was happy to have gotten this flash. All these holds were a little bit crimpy, but I'd say definitely on the juggier side of crimps. And I was feeling pretty good. I checked out this blue climb, and I instantly knew that I was going to love this. I thought this one was very interesting. I'm looking around trying to figure out how I'm supposed to get there until I decide that, this has to be kind of coordination-y dyno. So here, this is something I've practiced a little bit and I'm trying to work on a bit more, is really getting that left foot engaged. And let's just take a second, because this guy, who's probably almost a foot taller than me, he just spans it. I didn't get the whole thing on recording, unfortunately, but just for comparison, I understand now why it's a purple tape, or why this one seems so much harder than the rest. I think it's because people are able to span it, but for me, oh my gosh, it just seemed so far. The main thing I was focusing on mentally was, towards the beginning, was just trying to gain confidence and understand the climb. But then I started focusing on trying to swing into the wall and imagining that the foot and hand are inside the wall. I do this pretty often just to kind of give myself a different goal. And finally I managed to stick it, which I was really happy about. But then this top was just not that easy. It was pretty slopey, and I didn't like these holds, so I decided I was just gonna go dynamically. I was really happy I stuck that. It felt really good to get, and we get the set. So I thought that was a very well set climb, and I was just really happy to have gotten it. Moving on was this other purple tape. I also thought this climb was pretty cool. It starts off with kind of this press. I saw some people doing it without the press and just dynoing to this yellow hold on the far right. But with the press, it's just a little bit closer. And honestly, from here, it was pretty straightforward. In my book, definitely easier than that blue climb previously. And I got the flash on it. So next, I tried another purple tape, which was this pink climb. Again, I'd say it felt very similar to that white purple tape. It was just super straightforward, a little bit crimpy, but honestly, I wouldn't even say it was that crimpy. If I were to guess, they really felt like 18 millimeters. Don't take my word for it, because I cannot gauge how. I don't do enough finger trading to know what 18 millimeters is, but they felt pretty easy. So feeling pretty confident, having just done 4 purples and flashing 3 of them, I was like, okay, I can graduate onto red tapes. These are level 6. We were just on level 5. And I looked at this green climb. It looked pretty soft in my opinion. But first of all, I just couldn't figure out this beginning for quite a while. You're on these pretty slopey holds, and eventually I realized that there's a green foothold on the right. So instead of my feet being on the left, I need to have my feet on the right. But wow, these were so much slopier than I was expecting. I don't really know necessarily what I was doing wrong, and it was frustrating. I just couldn't. It really felt like a strength issue opposed to anything else, and I was just surprised by how badly I was getting cooked by this climb. Like, again, it didn't seem that difficult, but I was just really struggling to stay on the wall. And so I decided to move on. We moved on to a different red tape, this blue climb. And even establishing was a little tricky there, and I couldn't figure out exactly how to get to this hold, and I thought that fall was, these mats were like pretty bouncy. And yeah, it was just kind of hard to keep my momentum there. But yeah, after that attempt, I had a lot more confidence that I could go to this hold pretty dynamically, and I managed to stick it. Again, I'm not fully sure if I need to go so dynamically as this, but I do. And I get the heel match and right hand to this crimp, and I'm feeling pretty solid. But then I realized, oh, this last hold is actually pretty far. I hit the bottom part of that hold, and it's just way too fat, and I'm really gassed. Like, that climb actually took so much out of me. But we hop back on, and as you see, my right foot is still heel hooking, but I don't feel like I can get far enough, and I'm still hitting the bottom part of that hold. So I try and remove the heel hook and switch to just stepping on it. I can get a little higher, and you see I'm holding it for at least a moment, but I just can't hold it. So here, and oh yeah, I was just really struggling to make that work. So on my next go, I try to really keep that tension in the right foot, keeping it there. So my right foot's still there. I'm pinching, and I just couldn't make it work. So I gave up. I moved on and hopped onto this. Went back to some purple tapes. So this red climb was a purple tape that I was having trouble reading at first. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to match there, if I was supposed to go kind of undercling it or go over. So eventually I do decide on going for the match over, like this. And from there, it was honestly pretty straightforward. I think these crimps, again, were not too crimpy, nothing out of my range. And I'd say this whole section was pretty solid. I was trying to figure out the feet here. And luckily I find this little heel hook, and that the heel hook felt so good. I was happy to have found that because the body positioning was a little bit weird there. And we get the top. So I was pretty happy about that climb. I definitely think it's a little bit harder than how I made it seem, but still nothing totally out of my comfort zone. So with another purple tape down, I decided to attempt this red tape. And I thought this green climb looked so sick. So you start off with this toe hook and you go to this next hold, and wow, my left arm was completely pumped. I forgot to mention, actually, this whole time I happened to see a climbing legend, Misha, and he's also located in Vancouver and happened to be on the island at this time, and we just both happened to be at this gym together around the same time. And Misha is an absolute monster. He was sending pinks, so the level 8s at the gym, and he was just showing me how to send this green climb. And yeah, I think that Gaston move in the middle looked so my style. It was absolutely something I wanted to do. But wow, he makes this climb look so easy, but this first move was just so difficult to me. I just could not get that toe hook working, and there's so much weight on that left hand. That hold is so much slopier than the cameras make it seem, and my left forearm was pumped after that. So I was like, I'm not trying that again. Hopped on another red tape. Looking at this one, it looked pretty straightforward. I didn't think it was gonna be that hard, but I couldn't even figure out this start section. I'm sorry for the bad video. This was all filmed on a tripod. So I was trying to get the top section, and I'm realizing now that I didn't end up getting my feet at the bottom. So I'm sorry about that, but that'll have to do. So next I saw this black tape, which is a level 7. I didn't get a single level 6, but it just looked so soft to me. I was pretty sure I was gonna flash this. So to be fair, I think this is a beta break, and I'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, on this next move, I pretty much just have to squeeze myself up and try and get my body pressed against that green climb. And yeah, I could really feel, as I came down, I could just really feel that friction, because I'm really pressing just my whole body against it. But yeah, here I just wedge my feet in, get the hand up, and the difference that I try to make between this climb and the last one is to get my left foot a little bit higher. So even here, my left foot is, I'd say, a little bit low. So I try to reposition it a little bit higher so that I can really wedge myself in between the two holds. And once I get my hip situated just on the green, like this, I can just kind of sit there and get the match. So I thought I just showed, I was trying to practice the real movement. It really doesn't look like I'm doing it, but I'm pretty sure it was intended with the intention of going a lot more dynamically, switching the hands and switching the feet and throwing the left hand up to the green hold all at once. That is how Misha had done it, and he hit it like first try. And he made it look so easy, but the coordination required to do that just didn't make any sense to me. I think you have to jump off quite a lot higher, and I completely missed the foot there, take quite a fall, so I decided to just move on instead. Considering how I did manage to get a black tape, I thought I'd try another black tape here. So this white climb was also a super dynamic move, similar to this blue here, but I think you kind of throw yourself onto that white volume looking thing and go for this undercling. But it was very hard to get enough momentum and get myself in a position where I can really hold myself there. So we moved on. In the spirit of movement, again, trying to learn more movements opposed to just worrying about grades. I was trying this purple climb. The start hold, if you pause, is way to the right, but I thought I'd just try it from a much closer hold, and it just really hurt my wrist. But again, I thought the movement was really cool. It was just that right, left, right. Yeah. So I decided to move back to, I guess, my own level, not trying to do too much, and go to this purple tape. And to be fair, it was on slab, something that I'd say I don't really excel at. So I was more than happy to work on this climb, because I think this was definitely something closer to my limits. That was also something achievable. So I struggled there a little bit with the start, figuring out what to do. And on that attempt, I wasn't sure how to go to the right besides trying to go somewhat dynamically. But yeah, here I have a better understanding of how the start goes. And I feel a little bit more confident from that last attempt that the fall isn't too bad. So here I focus on just controlling my momentum, and I managed to stick it. And I couldn't figure out how to get my body over onto the right. And if you've been following the series for a while, I have really sweaty hands, and my hands were just sweating here. So I just take a moment, calm myself down, focus on rebalancing myself and taking my time. So once I got that left hand, I was crimping the heck out of that left hand, slowly trying to move my feet to the right. And I get that right foot. And I'm not sure if you can see it, the finish is up there at the top right with that purple tape. But unfortunately, yeah, I slipped there with the left foot. But it feels definitely doable. Shout out to this guy for brushing and saying that I can go. But yeah, on this next go, I decided to bring my chalk bag. I think it's just a long enough climb that I was just losing so much chalk, and especially as someone with sweaty hands, I felt like I really needed it. So I'm really glad I had a chalk bag with chalk that I could actually use here. So sticking the first part, chalking up so that I don't have to try necessarily as hard on this swap. And yeah, I take a bigger step on the right there just so that I can kind of rock myself over instead of doing those little steps that I had done on the previous attempt. So re-chalking up, I got myself onto that right. And it was interesting because everyone else I saw who attempted it went right hand, but I just listened to my body and left hand made more sense. And I was the first one to get this climb out of the group of us who had been climbing there. So I shout out to that guy, it's all him, for brushing that hold for me. And it was break time. Something I really enjoyed about this gym is they allow dogs. Sorry for the terrible video, I was more focused on petting the dog. But yeah, none of the hives in Vancouver allow just like dogs. So it was nice just taking a break, petting the dog for a bit. I'm trying to remember. Oh, I actually took a break because my phone had died. And so I just sat down, started charging my phone while I waited. And yeah, took a decently long break as my phone recharged. And it was back to part 2 of my session. So this was the last purple tape that I had yet to get. It starts on these volumes and it ends at the top left. The holds are the black holds, and it's mostly just working your way up this set of volumes. After taking such a pretty long break, I think I took a 40-50 minute break, just waiting for my phone to recharge. I was feeling a little cold, so I kept my sweater on, and this wasn't something that needed too much energy. It seemed pretty tactical, a little bouncy, so yeah, just focused on trying to get warm again. I was struggling to figure out where to go. So here's the main things I kind of focused on. So starting with the start is healing the left hand, or at least getting the foot there. And instead of looking for something to pull down on, I actually use the bottom of that volume to push and create tension between that and my left leg, so I can bring that right foot up. From there, with the right foot, I can slowly walk my hands up and get the left foot a little bit higher too. And it's essentially the same move now, pressing under the volume to get enough tension. And it's a little scary because the foothold on the left is kind of terrifying. It's a little bit small and it's just a little bit hard to trust. So on this next attempt, my start is again the same. I'm pressing on the volume with the left so that I can get the right foot up. And again, this time I use the bottom of the volume that I'm already on instead of being so high up to create a little bit more tension, and it creates space for that right leg to come up. So I was happy to get this with this match, or heel hook match. And so I had done all the purple tapes. The only things left were some red tapes and beyond. I thought this red tape yellow climb looked really sick. It goes across these volumes to that side pull and then to the finish. And this start felt really good to be able to just pull myself up, but wow. I could not swap feet here at all. I think just the fact that the foothold was on a different plane, like if you look at the volume, there's 3 faces. The fact that it was on that far left face just made the angle very weird. I couldn't find a way to really swap feet here. And this just really showed me how bad I am at foot swapping. I don't think it's impossible, but wow, for me, this felt impossible with my current skill level, and it was so scary. So again, that press into trying to make this foot swap happen. Here we go, and nope. I kept when I tried to swap feet, my right foot would end up on the top plane of that volume instead of on the foothold, and then I would just fall out. With enough attempts here, I had taken off my sweater. I was feeling warm, thinking I was trying hard, and I realized even if I swap the feet, it's actually pretty tricky staying up there. So I again thought this climb was pretty cooked for me. I was really trying to find a way to make this match happen. Someone at the gym had told me, though, I started asking people for beta, and they recommended trying to swap the feet here while still on the hold before pulling yourself up. But wow, again, I thought that felt so difficult. I think that just really opened my eyes to that being something I need to work on in the future. So hopefully in future episodes, you'll see me working on my foot swaps a little bit more and trying to be a little bit better with that. I moved on instead to this, back onto this red tape black climb, and they had told me to try and cut feet here, and that they thought that was the best beta. For me, I was having so much trouble holding the momentum, so I tried to see if there was any other thing I can do, heel hooking the start, etc. But nothing really seemed to make sense. So I just kept trying what they had recommended, which was cut feet and hold. And wow, I don't know if it's just because it was such a long session. At this point, I had been at the gym for almost 5 hours. My skin was pretty cooked. So I decided to try at least just the top section. I wouldn't get the whole send, but at least this top section didn't look too bad, and it looked more fun than just falling constantly towards the start. But yeah, overall, considering my one session here at Boulder House, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the setting. I thought all the movement was cool, and I would definitely come back.